Hello Stats class, I'm going to show you how to do some of these 6.2 homework problems with some technology to help you out rather than having to use these tables, which are perfectly fine if you're getting used to using those tables. You will have access to those on your final exam, but there are some ways that it's made easier with StatCrunch and with a calculator and even Excel to a certain extent. But this one says find the area of the shaded region, so we're in the Z distribution, which is the standard normal distribution, and we're to the left of this Z equals 0.52. So I'm going to show you how first on the calculator. So these Z standard normal tables are underneath bars, second bars DISTR distribution, and then we need normal CDF, right? Normal cumulative density function. So we highlight that and we basically tell our calculator where does the shading start, from left to right, and where does it end from left to right. So we're not giving a starting point because it's everything to the left of this number. So when we're not given a starting point, we use, remember, the middle of the standard normal distribution is 0. So these are negative numbers to the left side of the peak. These are positive numbers to the right side. So when we're not giving a starting point on the left, we just use a big negative number. So I just use like negative 999. Okay, if you ever are wondering if you're not far enough to the left, just keep adding nines. You really only need like 1 9 for this type of problem, but I just tell people to put a negative 999 or even fill up the whole first row with nines. It's fine. And then the right number, where does the shading end? It ends at 0.52. And that's all you need for this. So 0.698, it tells us to do 4, so 0.69846, so we round that to a 5. 0.6985. Okay, now if I was using StatCrunch, this is the same type of problem. Now I have a lower number and an upper number. I would just type that in with my calculator. If I was going to use StatCrunch to help with this, first of all, I would make this thing fit in the window so I can still see the numbers when I'm putting it in. But you need to go to Stat and then Calculators, and then this is normal. All right, so I select normal. All right, it wants to know what's the mean and standard deviation. By default, it's giving you standard normal, but there will be problems when you need, in 6.3, there'll be problems where these mean and standard deviation are no longer 0 and 1. So do make sure to pay close attention to that in 6.3. But for 6.2, it's always a mean of 0 and standard deviation of 1 once you get into these standard normals. All right, this is a between probability. It's not just strictly less than or greater than, it's between. So we're going to click between, and then it wants to know what's the two numbers that surround the number. So it's negative 0.97, so negative 0.97, and then positive 1.21, so positive 1.21, and then you just click compute, and so there's what we get, shading the same region. There's our number, 0.7208, again to 4 places, so 0.7208. Alright, now if I used the calculator for that, I just call normal CDF again. Second bars, normal CDF. Make sure you don't select PDF for this stuff. A normal CDF, same thing, negative 0.97. You have to put a comma between the lower number and the upper number. So upper number 1.21, and then enter, and then it gives us that same number, but we round it. It works. Now, variation on these type of problems is instead of giving you, if you notice on these, they give us the numbers down here, and we have to find the area of the shaded region. A variation on that would be they give you the shaded region's area, and you have to find the number. Okay, so that's no longer normal CDF on here. That's now the next one down, inverse normal. So inverse normal always takes in area to the left. Right, it has to be to the left of the Z value, and it returns the Z value that has that area to the left. So 0.2776 is the area to the left. 776. And then I just hit enter, and there's the z value. Okay, it wants me around to 2 decimal places. So that's negative 0.59 rounded to 2. Don't forget the negative. All right, now if that area is to the right, like it is on this problem, we have to make a little adjustment. So it's still inverse normal because it's use inverse normal anytime you are given area to the left or right and you have to find a number on the number line. You just have to adjust this. This is the area to the right. The area to the left is 1 minus that number because the total area is 1. So if the whole entire area is 1 and we take out this area, alright, which we're doing right here, what we're left with is the area to the left. And that's what we need to put in the inverse normal. So there's my number, 2 decimal places, 1.04. Alright, let me go back. Now I want to show you how to do these problems with StatCrunch. Alright, so let's say I've got this question. So an inverse norm problem from the calculator. How do I get that on StatCrunch? So again, when you bring up StatCrunch, you use again what I did was stat calculators normal. When you bring this up and you plug stuff in here, basically the way it works is you have to give it one of these, but if you fill in, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes, and if you fill in 3 of the 4, it'll solve for the other one. So the mean and the standard deviation are 0 and 1 still because we're in the standard normal. What I need to do here is tell it the area. Right, this is the area to the left, so I select this because it's area below. I don't know this number, but I'm going to plug in this area. Right here is 0.2776, and notice as soon as I type this in, this became the thing I didn't know, so this is what it will compute when I click compute. So there's what it comes up with, negative 0.5899, which is the same thing that we came up with before. Alright, and then the same thing here, the area to the right. So now I switch this to a right. I switch this to the area is 0.1492. Again, that thing went blank. I click compute and it fills it in with 1.039, which runs 1.04. So there's how this does inverse normal. Excel, it can handle it. It's just not as nice as the calculator or especially StatCrunch. But Excel can do, it has an inverse normal, has a normal. If you start typing in normal, there's normal distribution, there's inverse normal, there's normal standard normal distribution, and standard inverse normal, which is what we're dealing with here, standard normal. So if I clicked on standard normal, you type in the probability. It has to always be area to the left, just like with the regular TI calculator. So we would type in 1 minus the area to the right, so 0.1492, and it'll spit out that area to, that z-score. If it was an area to the left, like the previous one, we would type in equals normal s inverse. The probability this time is just 0.2776. We don't have to do 1 minus because it is to the left, and then just enter. Alright, so there's that number. So it can handle those types of problems. It's not nearly as good for these when they're giving you the z's. It can do that. The only problem is you have to do it one piece at a time, meaning you would have to type in normal distribution, standard normal. Z is 1.21, the upper, you always do the upper one, comma, cumulative. Yes, it is cumulative because we're doing area. The CDF, so we'd hit true, which is just a 1. We'll just put a 1 there. And then we're going to subtract the same thing, normal, standard normal, and then give it the lower one, negative 0.97, comma, it is cumulative, true, and then hit enter. And there's that 0.7208.